Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond the Box Score. I'm your host Hayat. Today we've got 6 college basketball matchups on February 15th, and this slate is layered. We've got revenge spots. We've got ranked teams coming off losses. We've got momentum teams catching points. We've got public perception traps. And we've got a couple of lines that look way too easy at first glance. I'm breaking down Belmont versus Murray State, USF versus FAU, Indiana versus Illinois, Maryland versus Rutgers, Dayton versus Davidson, and Cincinnati versus Utah. This is analysis and opinion only. No locks, no guarantees. Just connecting the dots and reading between the lines. Alright, let's start connecting the dots. Belmont versus Murray State. The lean here is Murray State Racers. Okay, so Belmont headed into Murray, Kentucky to play Murray State, two of the top teams in the Missouri Valley Conference, and I'm just going to say it right now, the lean here is Murray State Racers. Now let me walk through why, because on the surface this feels uncomfortable, almost wrong. Belmont has won 9 of their last 10 games. They've covered 7 of their last 10 games. They already beat this Murray State team 103-86 earlier this season. I mean 103-86, that's not a squeaker, that's not some weird one-possession game, that's a statement. So I get it. If this matchup plays out like that first meeting, if Belmont just walks in and shoots the lights out again, you're going to look at this and say why overthink it? They're hot, they're winning, they're covering, they already handled business. But what connects for me is that everything with Belmont is built on elite shot making. They're ranked 3rd in the country in three-point percentage. They're shooting 40.8% from 3. They're shooting 61% from 2-point range, and that 61% 2-point rate is top 5 in the league. That's ridiculous efficiency. That's why they've won 9 of their last 10. That's why they've covered 7 of their last 10. They don't miss. When a team is hitting 40.8% from 3 and 61% from 2, you're living in the margins, you're living off shot quality and execution. But one path I see here is what happens if the shooting dips just a little. Because they also turn over the ball at a high rate and they struggle to hit free throws. So if this matchup plays out like a tighter, more physical Missouri Valley Conference game, and they're not hitting 40.8% from 3, and they're not at 61% from 2, suddenly those turnovers matter more. Suddenly missed free throws matter more. And now you're in Murray, Kentucky. This is a home game for Murray State. It's a revenge spot. That 103-86 loss is sitting there. Murray State doesn't shoot 40% from 3, so they don't have that same pop. They don't have that 3rd in the country 3-point percentage. They're not shooting 40.8% from 3. But what they do is they hit their free throws and they do not turn over the ball. And that's the exact contrast that jumps off the page to me. Belmont struggles to hit free throws and turns it over at a high rate. Murray State hits their free throws and does not turn over the ball. So if this game tightens up late, if this becomes a possession game, who do I trust at the line? Who do I trust to value the basketball? And I keep coming back to the public perception angle. It seems too easy to take Belmont. You see 9 of their last 10, 7 of their last 10 against the number, 103-86 in the first meeting, 40.8% from 3, 61% from 2, you just click Belmont and move on. But I think this line tells you what you need to know. In a revenge spot, at home, with a team that hits free throws and doesn't turn it over, against a team that struggles in those two exact areas, that's the scenario that connects for me. So yeah, I'm going the other way. I'm on Murray State Racers. And that's why the lean sticks at Murray State Racers. Here we have next game USF versus FAU, the lean here is USF Bulls. USF Bulls heading into Boca Raton to play FAU Owls in the AAC, and right off the top, the lean here is USF Bulls. Now this one is interesting because if this matchup plays out strictly off situational angles, you would think this is a buy low, revenge, bounce back type of spot for FAU Owls. They're at home. It's a quick revenge spot. But I just can't get there. Let's rewind. These exact same teams played January 25th in Tampa. USF was minus 5.5 in that one, laying 5.5 points, and we slammed USF. They won that game by 14. Not by 6, not by 7, by 14. So if this matchup plays out like that first meeting, the minus 5.5 didn't even matter, they cleared it comfortably. And now we flip locations, USF heading into Boca Raton, FAU home game. That's the revenge angle. That's the situational box you check. But FAU has lost 5 straight games. 5 straight. And I know the competition hasn't been soft. They've played South Florida, Memphis, Tulsa, even Eastern Carolina, which has been a little sneaky this season. But still, 5 straight losses is 5 straight losses. And now you've got a USF Bulls team that has won 6 of their last 7 games. They're hot as hell right now. They've been a successful betting team for me this season. Not perfect ATS, but I've been picking my spots. And what connects for me is form versus form. One path I see is FAU's rallying at home, feeding off the crowd in Boca Raton, using the revenge spot from that January 25th loss in Tampa where USF was minus 5.5 and won by 14, and snapping the 5 straight skid. That's a clean narrative. But the other path, and the one I keep landing on, is momentum carrying over. USF Bulls have won 6 of their last 7. They're confident. They already beat this team once. There's a season sweep angle here. And when a team is hot as hell right now and the other team has lost 5 straight games, I'm just not in a rush to step in front of that. As much as I want to talk myself into FAU because it's a quick revenge spot and it's a home game in Boca Raton, the way USF Bulls have respected my money this season matters to me. The previous matchup matters to me. The 14-point margin matters to me. The 6 of their last 7 matters to me. So if this matchup plays out like recent form suggests, if momentum is real, if confidence travels, then I think USF finishes the job and gets the season sweep. Yeah, that's why I'm not clicking the FAU button. I'm sticking with the team that's won 6 of their last 7, that already covered minus 5.5 and won by 14 in the January 25th meeting in Tampa. The lean here stays at USF Bulls. Next game we have Indiana versus Illinois. The lean here is Indiana Hoosiers against the spread and over total points. Okay, the lean here is Indiana Hoosiers against the spread and over total points. Let me walk through why, because this one is layered. Indiana rolls in at 17-8 on the year, and Illinois is ranked 8th in the country. That ranking is going to jump off the screen to everybody. Ranked 8th, 12-2 at home, 8-2 in their last 10 games. And that's where the public starts circling Illinois, especially with Indiana sitting at 5-5 in their last 10 games. But what connects for me is the timing of this matchup. Indiana is on a 2-game winning streak. They just beat Oregon 92-74, and they were minus 10.5 in that game. Not only did they win, they covered the minus 10.5 clean. Now yes, Oregon hasn't been impressive this season, but 92-74 is still 92-74. That's margin. That's rhythm. Now flip to Illinois. They're 25-20-5 on the season, which is interesting in itself, and they just lost to the Badgers in overtime 92-90. They were minus 10.5 in that game. So think about that. Indiana was minus 10.5 and covered, Illinois was minus 10.5 and lost outright in overtime. And Illinois is currently on a 2-game losing streak, and they're doing that while representing a 12-2 home record. So if this matchup plays out like a classic, buy low spot, everybody is going to say Illinois at home. Ranked 8th, 12-2 in this building, 8-2 in their last 10, hammer it. That's the buy low spot. But this is a reverse flip play for me. One path I see here is Indiana riding the momentum of 2 consecutive wins. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games, which I actually like because that bad median means they're volatile. They're not overinflated. They're not on some crazy 8-2 stretch like Illinois is in their last 10 games. And there's revenge here. The last time these two teams played, Illinois won 94-69. That was a beatdown. 94-69 is not competitive. So if this game plays out like a revenge spot with Indiana coming in off 2 consecutive wins and Illinois sitting on a 2-game losing streak at home, I think Indiana sustains it and covers the spread. That 94-69 loss lingers. And then the total, the last time they played, it went to about 165-170 points. That's not a defensive slugfest. That's pace, that's offense, that's trading buckets. And what connects for me is Illinois' synergy is offensive. They're on a 2-game losing streak at home, you know they're going to cork it offensively. And Indiana, to keep up with a ranked 8th in the country Illinois team that's 12-2 at home and 8-2 in their last 10 games, they have to play outstanding offensive basketball. If this matchup plays out like the previous 94-69 meeting in terms of tempo and scoring environment, and we're living in that 165-170 range again, the over total points makes sense. So I'm not buying the trap bait narrative. The market is presenting this line for a reason, and that, buy low spot, screams Illinois. I'm flipping it. I'm taking Indiana Hoosiers against the spread and pairing it with over total points in a same-game parlay. Yeah, that's why the lean sticks at Indiana Hoosiers against the spread and over total points. Quick pause right here. If you've got an even one lean you're considering so far, hit that like button. These full slate breakdowns take time. I go game by game, spot by spot, and that like button tells me you want more of this raw, think it through style instead of surface level picks. And if you're new here and you like the way we break down momentum, revenge angles, efficiency matchups, and line movement logic, hit subscribe. It takes you 1 second, but it helps this channel grow in a big way. Alright, let's keep building the card. Now let's roll into next between Maryland versus Rutgers. The lean here is Maryland. Maryland headed into New Jersey to play Rutgers in the Big Ten Conference, and the lean here is Maryland. This is not pretty. Both of these teams are described as bottom-tier Big Ten teams. You've got Penn State's floating around, Northwestern hasn't been great either, but Maryland and Rutgers are definitely in that bottom-tier conversation. So if this matchup plays out like two bottom-tier Big Ten teams trading ugly possessions, you really have to ask yourself where's the edge. Maryland is coming off 2 straight wins. And not cupcake wins. They were plus 9.5 underdog at Minnesota, won outright. Then plus 10.5 underdog versus Iowa, won outright. Back-to-back near double-digit underdog wins. That matters to me. That's not catching 2.5 or 3.5 and sneaking by. That's plus 9.5 and plus 10.5 and winning the games outright. So one path I see is momentum carrying over. They're playing defense in their last 2 games. That's tangible. Now Rutgers, they've covered some spreads, but look at the spreads. Plus 13.5 vs Nebraska. Plus 12.5 versus USC. Plus 14.5 vs Michigan State. Those are big cushions. If I'm taking Rutgers, I want those numbers. I want plus 13.5, plus 12.5, plus 14.5. I don't want a game where it's more of a pick a winner scenario. And that's what this feels like. If this matchup plays out as a tighter number where you're basically choosing who wins, I lean toward the team with momentum. Rutgers does take care of the ball better than Maryland, and that's important. Ball security matters in games like this where both teams are pretty bad when you look at the full season resume. But outside of that, these teams are similar on both sides of the ball, and it's not pretty. So what connects for me is the recent form, 2 straight wins. Plus 9.5 and plus 10.5 underdog spots turned into outright wins. Playing defense in the last 2 games. If Maryland is carrying that defensive intensity and confidence from beating Minnesota and Iowa outright as near double-digit dogs, then in a game that's more of a pick-a-winner situation, I'll side with that. I still think they're pretty bad overall, but Rutgers hasn't given me a reason to put hard-earned money on them without plus 13.5, plus 12.5, or plus 14.5 attached. So yeah, if I had to choose one, I'll roll with Maryland. And that's why the lean sticks at Maryland. Here we go next with Dayton versus Davidson. The lean here is Davidson plus 3.5 or plus 4 and a healthy amount on Davidson money line. Okay. The lean here is Davidson plus 3.5 or plus 4 and a healthy amount on Davidson money line. Let me walk through why, because this A10 conference matchup is way more telling than the surface numbers. Both teams are 15-9. Both teams are 6-5 in conference play. On paper it looks even. But if this matchup plays out like recent form suggests, I think the gap is bigger than the identical 15-9 and 6-5 records show. Dayton just got drilled by VCU 99-73. That's not a tight loss. That's 99-73. And they've now dropped 5 of 6. When I see dropped 5 of 6, I immediately start asking what's going wrong structurally. Because earlier in the year Dayton started 5-0 in conference play. They looked steady. But since that 5-0 start, the rails have come off. They lost to LaSalle by 3, lost to St. Joseph's by 7, came home and lost to Rhode Island by 5 in overtime. Those aren't blowouts. Those are the games you expect a 15-9 team to close. Then the bad losses got ugly. Lost to St. Louis by 31 on the road. Lost to VCU by 26. And the most recent VCU loss was 99-73. So if this matchup plays out like Dayton's current defensive profile suggests, I don't know how I'm laying points with them. Now flip it to Davidson. They're also 15-9 and 6-5 in conference. They drilled Mid-Atlantic Christian 114-53. That's a 61-point margin. They followed that with a 20-point win over Loyola Chicago at home. And under Matt McKillop, this program has been about a 500 team over 4 years. That's the identity. Around 500. But this 15-9, 6-5 stretch feels like a chance to surpass that 500 ceiling and maybe push toward a 20-win team. If this is their best chance to break past that Matt McKillop 500 identity, I expect a full effort here. Now yes, I see the flaws. Davidson is shooting 66.2% from the foul line, bottom 20 rate in free throw shooting. That's real. In a tight A10 game, 66.2% can bite you. But what connects for me is the perimeter. They're top 30 nationally in three-point percentage. They're just outside the top 100 in three-point shot rate in terms of attempts. So they're not jacking them recklessly, but when they shoot them, they hit them at a top 30 rate. And Dayton, 295th nationally in defending the three. That's the matchup. If this game plays out like Davidson spacing the floor and hitting at a top 30 clip from deep against a 295th ranked three-point defense, that plus 3.5 or plus 4 is gold. I'm not willing to lay points with Dayton in their current form. Not after dropping 5 of 6. Not after losing by 31 and by 26. Not after a 99-73 drilling. I think Davidson is live to win this game outright. So give me Davidson plus 3.5, give me Davidson plus 4, whatever you can get it at, and I'll put a healthy amount on Davidson money line. Yeah, the lean sticks at Davidson plus 3.5 or plus 4 and a healthy amount on Davidson money line. My last game for this video is Cincinnati versus Utah. The lean here is Utah on the points. Okay, the lean here is Utah on the points. And I know it sounds uncomfortable because Cincinnati is 13-12 on the year, 5-7 in conference play, coming off a 91-62 win over Kansas State. Utah is 9-15 this season, 1-10 in conference play, and just lost to Houston 66-52. On the surface you see 9-15 and 1-10 and you want nothing to do with it. But if this matchup plays out like the numbers underneath the surface, there's value here. Cincinnati is 12-3 at home. That matters. They have wins over Iowa State at home. They beat UCF by 20 in their last home game. That's legitimate home dominance. And defensively, they're 11th in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency and 4th in Big 12 conference play in adjusted defensive efficiency. That's elite on that end. But here's where I pause. Do I want to consistently lay double digits with a team whose offense still isn't where it needs to be? No, not even against Utah. Because while the defense is 11th nationally and 4th in Big 12 conference play, you still have to score to cover. We've seen teams lean entirely on defense and struggle to separate. Now Utah, 0-7 straight up on the road this season. That jumps off the page. But they're 6-1 against the numbers on the road. That's the key. They've been getting 18.5 against Kansas. They were getting 19.5 against BYU and lost by 13. They were getting 10.5 against Kansas State and lost by 3. That's backdoor profile. That's fight. Even in the Houston 66-52 loss, they lost by 14. The only thing between Utah and being winless in conference play is a 3-point win at home over TCU. So yes, 1-10 in conference play is ugly. But 6-1 against the numbers on the road tells me this team competes to the number. If this matchup turns into a defensive battle like Cincinnati's 11th ranked adjusted defensive efficiency suggests, I can see a 69-61 type of game. That's 8 points. I can see a 6 or 7 point game decided at the foul line late. I can see an 8-point game. And if that's the script, Utah on the points makes sense. Cincinnati at 12-3 at home is strong, but covering big numbers consistently with an offense that isn't fully trustworthy is a different conversation. So if Utah continues to be 6-1 against the numbers on the road, continues to hang around even when they're 0-7 straight up away from home, and this becomes a 69-61, 6 or 7 point, maybe even 8 point type of finish, I want the points in my pocket. There's value on Utah plus points. So give me the Utes here. And yeah, the lean sticks at Utah on the points. Alright, that wraps up all 6 college basketball matchups for February 15th. As always, this was analysis and opinion only. Nothing guaranteed. No promises. Just walking through how these games might play out if the matchups and situational angles unfold the way they look on paper. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a Z in the comments if you made it to the end, and tell me which game you're riding with. Are you backing the revenge spots? Are you fading the ranked team? Are you grabbing the road dog? If you're seeing something differently, I want to hear it. That's how we sharpen the reads. More breakdowns coming soon. Same deep dives. Same raw format. Same beyond the box score approach. I'll see you in the next one.